Okay, so looking at these are just basic multi-step equations. And we're just solving for x here. There's no factoring or anything like that. All you have to do is solve. So what's my first step on number 1? What do I need to do with that 5? Distribute it. So 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 2x is 10x. And then bring down the 85. Now what would my next step be? Subtract the 5 from both sides. So I have 10x equals 80. And then what would I do? Add the 10 on both sides. You get x equals what? 8. Okay, so that is solving just multi-step equations. So now let's look at finding the axis of symmetry. Oops. And the vertex. Okay, so both of those are in standard form, and I need to find my axis of symmetry. What's my formula for finding the axis of symmetry?
2a.
X equals negative b over 2a. That's the formula I use to find the axis of symmetry. So on number 3, my a is 2 and my b is negative 16. So I'll have x equals negative 16 for 2 times my a, which is 2. Okay, so I'll have negative times negative gives me a positive 16 over 2 times 2 is 4. And what's 16 divided by 4? 4. So my axis of symmetry is x equals 4. Then I need to find my vertex. I know my x value is going to be 4. It's always the value of the axis of symmetry. And now you could plug it back in and do like 2 times 4 squared minus 16 times 4 plus 30. You could just plug that in your calculator and see what you get. Or you can plug it into your table of values and do it with your graphing calculator or your other calculator. You go down to 4. And what do you get for 4? -2. So my vertex is at 4, -2. So I am going to take -b over 2a. So -4 over 2 times -1. Negative times a negative gives you a positive over -2. And then x will equal -2. So my axis of symmetry is x equals -2. Then you have to find your vertex. You can plug it in the calculator, find it that way using the table, or you can just do -2 squared minus 4 times -2 minus 2. Anybody know what that gives you? +2. There's my axis of symmetry and my vertex. Okay? So finding my axis of symmetry and my vertex on number 5. I need to do -b over 2a. What's my b value? 0. So I'm going to have 0 over 2 times 2. 0 divided by anything is always 0. So my axis of symmetry is x equals 0. And then I'd plug that 0 back in. 2 times 0 is 0. Minus 4 gives you -4. So there's your axis of symmetry and your vertex. Okay? So then on number 5, same thing. But this time it's in vertex form. Do I have to do the axis of symmetry formula? No. I can just find my axis of symmetry from that right there. Opposite sign, x equals -4. Then my vertex is that -4, -8. So when it's in vertex form, all you have to do is look at those two numbers, the h and the k. On those three, we want to describe those transformations that are given. So on number 6, what does that 2 out in front do? Stretch. What's the -4 do? Right? 4. That one is opposite of what you would think it would be. Now, the one outside is the same as what you would think it would be. The negative makes it go down, okay? Don't switch it up there. Negatives go down, positives go up. So I'm going down 2. Number 7 is compressed by 1/2 and left 5, and that's it. What if I put a negative right out here? It's going to flip it. So add that negative to it. There was supposed to be a negative. I just forgot to write it. Okay, and then on the last one, it only has one transformation. Doesn't flip, doesn't compress or stretch, doesn't move left or right. It only goes up 4. Very good.
Is flip the same thing as triple flip?
Yes. Okay, so here we're just factoring. You're not solving, so you don't have to do the extra step we talked about yesterday. All you have to do is look for what multiplies to give you 72. 6 and 12. What other ones? 9 and 8. Now, which one of those would add to give you negative 17 if they were both negative? 9 and 8. So it would just be x minus 9, x minus 8, and you are done. When you're factoring, that's all you have to do. You don't have to do the other steps. Okay, so looking at that number 10, what can I factor out of that? An x. You're left with x plus 7. Can you factor anything else out? No, that's it. That's all you have to do. Greatest common factor for that one. No. Okay, now on this one, my leading coefficient's not 1. I want it to be 1. So what can I factor out to make it be 1? Divide everything by 3 and factor out of 3. So I'll have x squared plus 4x and then I still need to factor it. What multiplies to give you negative 12 and adds to give you 4? Which one's negative? Negative 6 plus 2 gives you negative 4. Do we want negative 4? No. So which one's negative? So there's my factored form. 3x plus 6 times x minus 2. Last step. Okay, so looking at the first one that I already have up there. What two numbers multiply to give you 14 and add to give you 9? 7 and 2. And since 9 is negative, that means they both have to be negative. And then to solve, I'm just going to set them equal to 0 by zero product property. I'll get x equals 7, x equals 2. Now, number 13 doesn't have 3 terms, but we can still factor something out by greatest common factor. What can I factor out? X. And then I'll have x plus 5. Then I'll set both of those equal to 0. Solve for x, and you'll get x equals 0 and x equals negative 5. Then on 14, you've got to move everything to the left first. So I'm going to subtract the 8x from the right and add the 4 from the right. Now I have x squared minus 36 equals 0. Then two numbers that multiply to give you negative 36 and add to give you 0. So then just change their signs. Your answers would be negative 6 and 6. Anybody have any questions? Sure. Okay. So your quiz is going to be on Google Classroom, so go ahead and get out a Chromebook, go to Google Classroom. If you need scratch paper, get out a piece of scratch paper. But no, you can't use the paper you just wrote on. You need to put that up. The paper you just wrote on needs to be put up. All you need is a piece of scratch paper in your Chromebook.